Foxy from the future here. Just wanted to preface this video with a quick comment. There's going to be a lot of people probably send us messages wanting to know who was at fault and how this happened. That's not what this video is about. What this video is about is just bringing you guys some information about what happened to us, how you maybe avoid that sort of thing happening to you. Obviously it was a fairly close call on our part. It's not something that we want to happen to anybody else, but this video is not about trying to hang this on anyone specific. We did our own GVM upgrade that was done to my specifications. We had it engineered ourselves. We had a number of different people put equipment on the car, and obviously trying to lay blame is pointless anyway. This is not what this is about. So it's just about how to, general knowledge, things you can do yourself to avoid this sort of thing coming, things that we've now done ourselves to avoid this sort of thing happening in the future, especially now that we are travelling full time. So we've now completed the build on the car. We also have a caravan, which you can probably see is what I'm sitting in now. We live in full time, and those videos will be coming out soon on what sort of van we chose and a full walkthrough and all that sort of cool stuff. So yeah, please just take this as information. We want to look at this from a good point of view, because the people that helped us both in Bordertown, in Adelaide, the suppliers that were involved to us for servicing the vehicle, for doing the modifications to the vehicle, everybody chipped in to make sure that this ended up being a positive situation out of something that could obviously have been very negative. There was no aggro, there was no finger pointing. Everybody involved was fantastic to us, and that's how we'd like to see everybody that watches this video take it in their stride in that vein. So with that said, we'll progress with the video, and we'll let you know what happened to us on that day with the 300 series. Thanks. Setting the scene, basically, Lynn and I had set out in the Landcruiser to drive to Melbourne. At that stage we were still trying to sort out which manufacturer we were going to go with. We attended a number of different manufacturers' factories to have a look at vans, do build factory tours to see how vans were built, inspect different vans and talk to the various manufacturers to decide which manufacturer we wanted to go with. At that stage we'd sort of narrowed it down to 2 or 3 manufacturers, and we were on our way back to have, I think, a second visit and another walkthrough of one of the specific vans we were looking at. At that point we were living in Adelaide, so we'd set out from Adelaide relatively early. It was about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, something like that, and we were trying to make good time through to a point on the outside of Melbourne, which we were going to use as home base for that evening, and then go in and do a factory tour early the next day. So we had stopped in at Bordertown, grabbed something to eat, a coffee, whatever that might have been, and then we left Bordertown heading towards the border. Hadn't quite made the border, and that's when everything unfolded. There was absolutely no warning, and this is another thing that I wanted to make sure that people understand, is that you don't always get warning if there's a failure. I've had a small amount of experience in very basic entry-level motorsport, so I've driven cars at speed, with how I've crashed them and all that sort of thing. So I'm pretty tuned in on what's going on with my vehicles. If something's wrong, I'll normally know about it. No warning, none. Doing 100 k's an hour, we passed the truck probably a few minutes before, and we're sitting on 100 kilometers an hour, and next minute all hell broke loose. You'll see the clips. I've strung a set of clips that we took on the day and in the 24 hours while this all took place together, and I'll play them, and we'll give you a bit of background as to what happened and what went on from there. But yeah, that's the situation set, and obviously you'll see what happened.
Righto guys, Jarrett from Gecko Adventures Australia. This is a 300 series, happened at 100 k's an hour. We've just had the bolt drop out. That's the end of our trip for now. Gonna go and see if I can find the bolt and see what's going on, and call Toyota.
So once we got underneath the vehicle, basically we're driving along, bang, very loud noise, front end dropped heavily to the front left. At that stage I thought we'd blown a tyre. You could hear rubber or something grating. I thought it was the tyre coming to pieces on the front guard. It was very loud, very you know, quite frightening to Lynn. She was sitting next to me, and obviously neither of us expected this. There was a very loud bang, as I said, car dropped. Lots and lots of noise. Luckily everything stayed pretty stable. We managed to jump on it pretty quick, jumped on the anchors, pulled the thing up, and when we got out I was expecting to see shredded tyre. When we pulled up there was a lot of tyre smoke and things coming off the front of the car. And yeah, when we got out, obviously, as you'll see, the front suspension had collapsed. So we got out and the guard was sitting down over the wheel. Thankfully I'd managed to pull the car up pretty straight and not have it turn to the left. So it didn't actually damage the bodywork or the guard liner or the guard or anything. We were extremely lucky as far as damage goes. So we got out. Obviously you'll see from the next clip what I saw. And it was pretty obvious at that point that we weren't going anywhere in the vehicle anytime soon. I did walk up the road and tried to find the bolt. We never found the bolt. I spent probably an hour walking up and down the road, a good 1.5 kilometres, and never ever saw the bolt. Never found it. Found all sorts of things other than the bolt, but yeah, we didn't find the bolt. So then you'll see what happened from there.
Well, the old 300's going on the back of a flatbed. So we've had a chat with our Toyota dealer, and the Toyota dealer's helping us out with some parts, and with any luck we can get this thing back on the road. So we'll keep you guys posted as to what's happened, and hopefully I mean, we have done the suspension of this, so this is our responsibility, but yeah, we'll see what Toyota's got to say. Thanks. Well, this isn't where we envisaged being at this time of the day. We should be halfway to Melbourne. Instead, the old 300, she's on the way to the mechanics at Bordertown because the strut has left the building. So we'll keep you guys posted, and hopefully we can get this resolved quick. Unfortunately, the old girl's coming off. Tell you what, if you're in the Bordertown area and you need something towed or painted or repaired, go and see Ferguson Paint and Panel. This bloke over here, Dion, is an absolute dead set legend. We contacted the local Repco service dealer, All Ag and Auto, in Bordertown, and they've agreed to have a look at the car for us, see exactly what's wrong, and then hopefully we can get this thing back on the road.
As you can see, we were lucky enough in very, very quick time too. We were so impressed with the amazing service that we got from the community in Bordertown. Amazing. Ferguson's Paint and Panel sent a tow truck out, I think within 25 minutes, towed the vehicle back to All Ag and Auto, who were also amazing. As you can see in the clip, they agreed to look at the car within 24 hours. They couldn't do it that day, but agreed to do it first thing in the morning. They also, without even asking, offered us their own vehicle, which we had, the Ford Ranger, and we were able to use that to go and get some accommodation, go and grab a feed, sort of debrief, calm down, and see what we could organise next as far as getting parts and what the availability and what that looked like.
So here it is. She's looking very sad. You can see that's the bottom strut mount where the bolt has fallen off, and then the strut has come off of its mount. We were doing 100 kilometres an hour on the freeway. Luckily the strut mount didn't go through the tyre, because if it had gone through the tyre it probably would have locked the wheel up, and then we would have been in a very different situation. So thank you very much to All Ag and Auto Bordertown. These guys have agreed to look at the car for us. They've also stuck us in a ute, which they didn't have to do, so we've got some transport to try and go and find somewhere to stay. So if you're in anywhere near Bordertown and you need mechanical work, go and see these guys. They are absolute champions.
So once we got the vehicle back, they confirmed the fact that obviously we'd seen that the bolt had come adrift. Luckily, we have a fantastic Toyota dealer in the Adelaide Hills Toyota. Mark, the service manager there, was amazing. These bolts aren't, lying around on the shelves. I think the nearest one was in New South Wales and was supposed to take 24 to 48 hours if we had it overnight freighted, given the time of the day that all this happened. As it turns out, they agreed to pull it off of one of their own vehicles, so they took this bolt off of a brand new vehicle just to help us out, which was absolutely amazing and obviously fantastic for us. Also got to give a big shout out to my best mate Rod Gorton from Elite Printing Studio. By the time we got this all sorted out, I reckon it was around 1:30, 2 o'clock, and Adelaide Hills Toyota had agreed to take the bolt off the vehicle for us, which was fantastic. So we've got the part, but the part's in Adelaide and we're in Bordertown. So we don't have any transport. I mean, obviously we've been lent a car, but I wasn't going to go using someone else's car to, bolt 3 hours up the road. Luckily, and because it was time sensitive trying to get this bolt back, it would have been 3 hours up, 3 hours back. It would have been the better part of a day trashed, or just less than 3 hours. Luckily, my mate Rod had offered to do whatever we needed. He drove from the southern suburbs of Adelaide into the Adelaide Hills, grabbed that bolt for us from Adelaide Hills Toyota, and then made the dash down to Bordertown for us with the bolt. As it turned out, he didn't get there, I think, until around 5:30, so it was just after All Ag Auto had closed, so we had to wait for the next day. I'd communicated to them that the bolt was coming and that we would get that part to them very early, and thankfully I took the bolt in, I think it was like 8 o'clock the next morning or 7:30, and within a couple of hours they installed the bolt, wheel aligned, tested the vehicle. They've got I can't remember the name of the apparatus, but basically it's like a set of scales and it measures stopping distance and things like that. So they were able to check that everything was safe for us to continue our journey. We couldn't get into the local wheel aligner, so we had to get it wheel aligned an hour or so down the road, but the wheel alignment was good enough to be safe. It was just something that was, obviously if we'd left it like that, we could have scrubbed tyres and things like that. So we did get it wheel aligned on the way down to Melbourne, but we were able to carry on within 24 hours, get all of that mess sorted out, thanks to the support of our friends and the great guys at Toyota, even though this had nothing to do with Toyota. I want to make that really, really clear. As I said in one of the clips, we modified the suspension to my specifications for the GVM upgrade. The GVM upgrade was a sum of axles GVM upgrade for those that are interested. Obviously, you'll have to check with your own state and territories as to what's legal. In South Australia, post-rego, you can do what they call a sum of axles GVM, which basically means the factory sum of what the weights of the axle ratings of that vehicle are. Can be made into a GVM upgrade as long as it's engineered by obviously a qualified vehicle engineer. We did that specifically because we wanted to keep the standard suspension for the vehicle. The Toyota 300 Series GR Sport has a 6-setting electrically adjustable suspension system, and if we'd have done an off-the-shelf GVM upgrade, which was 3,560 kilos, we would have lost those shock absorbers, which means we would have lost some of the functionality of the standard vehicle. I didn't really want to do that, knowing that we wanted to keep the vehicle as close to standard as possible. Now, some people are going to say, why do you want to do that? Like you can get a 4-ton GVM from Lovells or any Dobinsons or any of those sorts of guys, J-Max. We wanted to do that for 2 reasons. One, we wanted to keep the vehicle as close to Toyota specifications as possible, so that there was least likelihood in the event that there was a drama that there was any sort of issues about warranty, or you've changed this or you've changed that and we're not going to warrant the car. We were very conscious of wanting to keep the 7-year vehicle warranty. We paid a lot of money for the vehicle, and so we wanted to have access to that warranty, especially travelling Australia. The reason that we bought the 300 was because Toyota does have the largest dealer network in Australia, and given that we are travelling the country full time, that was going to be important to be able to get to vehicle dealers if we needed to, and be able to get that service. And it's pretty well known that that's a Toyota thing, so that's why we did what we did. I'm glad that we did it. and that's why we went down the track that we went down. We wanted to keep the car as close to Toyota standard as possible. I think it was a good idea. It worked out really well. So basically the GVM upgrade just meant that we changed the vehicle springs, front and rear, and also put Airbag Man high pressure airbags in the rear to help level. At that stage we had a camper trailer. Now we've obviously got a 3.5 ton caravan, so being able to adjust that height to get everything towing nicely, sitting nicely, ball weight, everything right was really important. And the springs have worked out great. We use King springs. I spoke to the guys, one of the reps at King's, via email, back and forth, told them exactly what we were doing with weights, as in what we were doing to the vehicle, and what they sent me was perfect. Everything has been mint. Now that we've now got the van, the ball weight on the van was exactly what we wanted. It's around that 265 to 280 kilos, depending on how we load it. And the rear springs are perfect. You'll see, you know, in some of the footage and the photos that we'll show you, van sits lovely. The vehicle sits slightly nose down, which is exactly what you want. We ended up using the standard Toyota off-road hitch, which is unusual because most people end up changing to the on-road hitch, but this van is an off-road van and it does sit up that little bit higher on the airbags. So we ended up having to go to a shorter hitch to get the ride height right. Anyway, all that aside, the bottom line is that that's why we did what we did. So the suspension changes with springs and the airbags. We also changed the wheels to a higher rated CSA X, I think they call them, wheel, which was the recoil. I think it's 1450 or 1500 kilos per wheel. And on the advice of the engineer, we put those wheels on and the tyres as well. I'd already decided to do those wheels, but he had us put them on as part of the upgrade, so that when he did his assessments, the wheels, the tyres, the springs, everything that we've done to the vehicle is all engineered, all legal and all passed, which is great for us because we know the thing's legal. We've got it in writing, we've got an engineer's report, and we've also got the Department of Industry Transport in South Australia's assessment to sign off to say that it's legal, which is great for the insurance and the warranty side of things as well. So yeah, that's what happened. Once again, thanks to everybody in Bordertown. That community is amazing. The pub that we went to is amazing. The caravan park put us up overnight in a cabin on no notice, no booking, no nothing. Obviously Ferguson's towed the vehicle within 25 minutes of us ending up on the side of the road. All Ag Auto looked at it that afternoon, had it all apart ready to put the suspension in it the next morning. By the time I gave that bolt to them, within a couple of hours we were back on the road. Absolutely amazing. Love Bordertown. It's a great place. If you're going through there, if you're travelling full time, there's a great RV park free camp on the outskirts of town. I think it's donation only. The caravan park's amazing. The people in the caravan park were so friendly, so accommodating, and given how crap we felt that day, it was a very hot day, obviously all the stress of what happened in the morning, it was just great to be able to have somewhere, know we were going to have somewhere to sleep, whack the aircon on, sit in the thing, debrief, plan, and get what we needed to get done. Yeah, Bordertown, top community, top people. If you're down that way, go in there, spend some money at the pub, stay at the caravan park, and like I say, if you need any mechanical work, All Ag Auto, or if you need panel work or paint repairs, Ferguson's, all of those guys, fantastic, couldn't have helped us more, super friendly and super accommodating. We really, really, really appreciate everything that you guys did to turn something that was pretty harrowing and could have been, you know, a much, much worse outcome into something that in the end was really awesome. Yeah, it totally restored our faith in human beings. You know, it's pretty easy these days to get down and out about the way some people treat you. Yeah, it was exactly what you would want in that situation, given how crappy it was. I was just amazed at how quickly and easily everybody took us under their wing and really helped us out. So there you go, that's the 300. So what can you do to avoid this sort of thing happening to you? Obviously if a bolt's going to come out of your suspension, there's not much you can do about it while it's happening in real time. But what we did do afterwards, and you know, something I did when I installed the hitch on our camper, and it's not something I really thought about on the vehicle, but I should have done, and I've done it since. I'll see if I can find something that's got a mark on it, because the ones on the car are hard to be seen, they need to be remarked. Witness marks. So what's a witness mark? Well, straightforward. If you've got a bolt here, the head of the bolt, and you'll draw a line along the whatever it might be. In our case, obviously it was you saw the that round knuckle at the bottom of the mount for the shock absorber and the strut. So basically what you do is you just draw a line straight across the head of the bolt, and then either side of where that bolt lines up. What you end up with is, you know, a 12 through 6 o'clock mark that shows that the bolt stays where it is. If you get any movement in that bolt, and you know, since we've had that happen, if I pull up into a servo now or something like that, when I'm walking back to the car after I've filled it, I will look underneath at those suspension bolts, look at those witness marks, and make sure that they are still in perfect alignment. If for any reason the bolt starts to shift and work its way loose, you will see that witness mark come out of line with the bottom and the top of where, you know, you've marked it on the rest of the vehicle. Really straightforward, really easy to use. You can just go to, you know, Officeworks, something like that, and grab a paint ink pen marker, white or, you know, bright yellow, fluoro green, whatever you want, something that's going to stick out against the colour of what you're setting it to, so that it's really easy while you're walking back to your vehicle. You don't have to, you know, crawl underneath the thing or whatever, to see that those marks are all aligned. Quite often people, and this is what I did when I installed the DO35 on my camper, is we mark those bolts, the 4 mounting bolts, with those witness marks, so that every time you hitched or unhitched, you could check and see that those things hadn't shifted, you got the right torque settings applied, and so on. As it turns out, the torque setting, believe it or not, for that bottom bolt was 500 Newton meters, which, if you're not across automotive terminology, that's a lot. That is a lot. Apparently the guys, when they took it off of their stock vehicle back at Adelaide Hills Toyota, had to use a breaker bar that was over 1 metre long to break that seal. A lot of torque. Anyway, witness marks, anything that's critical on your vehicle, or if you change something or mount something or have work done, irrespective of how good or you know, how well you know the supplier, all the suppliers that we used on the vehicle were all people that we'd used before, or were very, very highly recommended. That's why I haven't named them, because they're all good people, and as I said before, we don't know exactly how these things happened. I'm not going to sit and lay blame, because there were a number of different people that had their hands on that vehicle. So there's no point in me, you know, pointing fingers. That's not what this was about. But use witness marks, really cheap, really straightforward way of just making sure that those critical sorts of suspension bolts or components, if you've had them worked on recently, you can just a visual check. You don't need to know anything about cars or automotive or anything like that. It's just a really cheap, really easy insurance way. And stick with us. Coming videos, like I say, we'll be showing you what van we got. We'll be doing walkthroughs of the inside and the outside. We've got some pretty cool things as far as the power specs goes. So for those who are nerds on solar and power, you'll love it. And yeah, why did we choose the van that we chose, and what were the other contenders, and why did we end up with what we've got? And we've only been in it a month now, and we're really happy so far. It's really, really good. Obviously we haven't gone too far. We're still in the South Australia. We've got a few things that we've got to tick off boxes for, as far as, you know, medical appointments and things like that. But this morning we found out, huge, that we managed to get into Tasmania. I didn't realise how hard it is to get on the Spirit of Tasmania. Man, it's like 6 to 8 weeks ahead. If you're going to Tasmania, book 2 months ahead. We got on a short list, and within a week we managed to get in. We found out this morning, so we're going to Tasmania in February. It's going to be awesome. So yeah, stick with us. Please like, subscribe, and all that sort of stuff. We are looking to you know, be around long term, and we need you guys to help us do that. And we hope to see you soon back on Gecko Adventures Australia. Okay, 24 hours later, not quite, she's all back together, thankfully. We had some mates drop down a bolt all the way from Adelaide, which was amazing. And then these guys, Orlag and Auto in Bordertown, put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Back on the road, we've got to get a wheel alignment and make sure everything's in good nick, and then sort out who's paying for what later.